Well, good morning, world. Hope y'all are doing well wherever you are. Hopefully, you're out fishing. That'd be awesome. It is Sunday and it is morning. So, uh, figured I'd come on live and do something a little different this Sunday. Something that was brought up before was, man, you should do some lives. You should do some hangouts and some stuff like that, and just a bunch of kind of fun stuff to kind of, I don't know, get it started. So with Sunday being here, I figured a couple things we'll do. One, we'll talk about beach reading. Yeah, that's been a big one. That seems to be a big thing in the groups. People are like, man, I can't seem to read at the beach. I can't seem to understand what you're talking about with beach reading. I was like, all right, well, unfortunately, I still can't do great walking on the beach with my knee being jacked up, but um, hopefully soon. By hopefully soon, meaning today. But with it being Sunday, I figure why not? Let's do a little coffee talk. Let's do a little podcast editing, and let's do a little knowledge piece. So, by all means, feel free to drop in the comments. For those of you who've never been here on my live, I will interact with comments. Good morning, Jesse. Yes, I heard you were out, buddy. I heard you doing good. Plan on bugging you later, but we'll see from there. If y'all haven't checked out Slot City Fishing, we just finished 2 episodes back to back. One was very heavy on fishing, and the second one was a bit of fishing, but a ton on social media and the growth and how to do it and the things you run through. And it was really good. Good morning, Robert. How are you? Good day, sir. So both those episodes were outstanding. Really a lot of fun. So definitely check him out and follow him. He's got a lot of cool content on surf fishing and growth and just all that fun stuff. He's just got here. And today is the first time ever that I'm using Twitch. So you'll be able to find me now on Twitch. It'll be under Finding Demo Surf Fishing. Yeah, new venture, old dog, new tricks. Who knew? So let's just get this into the fun stuff here. So one thing I wanted to talk about is going to be beach reading, and let's see if I can do this properly because this is going to be fun trying to get it to work the way I want. We're going to go there. All right. So one recently, we'll go to old Facebook. Why not? One of the parts that I really wanted to bring up here was a couple of videos. And I apologize for not being completely up to speed on everything here. Where are you? There you are. So Alabama Surf Casco, I had them on not too long ago. Great time talking with him. This video he did here was a pretty good in my opinion. It really started highlighting some pieces there when it comes to beach structure and trying to get an idea of to what's going on there. I will pop back and forth between that so I can see comments. Sorry about that. Single screen for now. Eventually I'll get cool and have dual screens. But this little picture here, when I saw it, gives me things to look at. So one being this big whole shoreline, big point, things like that. So when I go out, that's something I'm looking at. And it's a challenge to notice a rip current. Let's start there. This picture, these 2 pictures have always been really good. So you see this one at the beach all the time, like, hey, watch out for rip currents. And some of them do look this straight up, very, very simple. They're very obvious. Come on, get out of there. This picture being really, really good for a rip. So when you're looking at wave breaks, and this other one down here, I'll pull that up. But as you can see here, they got this giant tunnel essentially. No break here. It's all breaking here. It's all breaking here. And you can see that. But in this zone right here, no movement, right? Because that's because the current's going back and it's filtering out. So when you're walking, one of the things that I always do is if there's a little bit of wave action, I'm looking for this break, and then I'm looking for the gap. A lot of times they're not this prominent. I mean, look at that. That's a beach umbrella right there. So think about that, right? That's huge. That's probably a fisherman right there. That would be. But rip currents, when you see them like this, they're great. With the fishing rips, though, you don't want to hit here at all. I mean, you want to stay away from the center of the rip. If you want to try to throw one in, go for it. But think of it like this: fish are going to run right this way, and then they're going to follow the current. So, hey, good morning, Vernon. With the current being here, and we talked about it in a couple of episodes, you're going to want to throw your bait somewhere here, maybe here, looking for bars. This tells me the bars right here. So I would probably throw one here, here. Yeah, that one would be kind of a shorty. I don't think I'd play that. I think I'd play that short. And then definitely here. But I'd play the outer edges and not so much the middle. um, but rips are great because they're pulling all this stuff from here. They're pulling the nutrients, right? Where this is crashing, it's turning up sand. So sand fleas that are here on the shore, they're getting sucked out. Coquinas, all those pieces. That is very, very good to check with and use. This one, love this picture. Breaking waves means the bar play with. Rip current, as you can see, there's that gap, right? That would be so perfect right there. Look at that current. Sediment plume looking through the rip current, you can see that. Same looking from a long ways away, you can kind of see one starting here. Looks like right there. So rips are a perfect place to fish. And to get acquainted, this is just a good guide just looking at the internet. So, perfect. That picture's up here still. Awesome. So when you're playing with those, kind of something to look at. This is Pensacola Beach, right down the street from me. And a lot, especially after Sally. Oh man, our beach structure was a lot like this. It was tons and tons of pockets. It was wait, what are you doing? I don't know. I want to go there. Thank you. So, a couple of rips. That's a decent possibility right there. That's for the outflow. I'd fish right around there for sure. But all these little stops right here, as you can see the bar, think about the fish, how they run, right? Down the road, up and around, up and around, up and around. They're hitting this bar, they're grabbing stuff along the way. They're just chewing and food as they go. One of the ones that I've heard people talk about, and I love this, is pompano will come down and they'll circle. They'll hit these, they'll try to grab it up, grab all the food they can, then run to the next one. So if you're in the panhandle here, Pensacola, Destin, all the way down, actually the whole region, you'll see tons of this stuff. Lots of great holes to go ahead and throw at and really good areas to attack when fishing. This distance right here is very castable. Don't take the little dots of people out of context here. This is a really good casting zone. So, this point, if you were to set up on this point, throwing out there, you're going to have that little channel right there. You could see it, but you could still throw it here, and then running down there. Nice one here. Same thing for the hole. And with these two, don't neglect going short. That is, throwing short is not a bad thing in this sport. You don't have to cast it out here. I mean, though it sounds cool, you really don't. A lot of fish come right up here, mow into the small stuff. You get whiting, you get pomps. We saw permit coming in close too. So all this zone is super fishable, and it's just a matter of seeing it. So that tells me right there, because it's darker too, but deep water trough pushes through. Decent opportunity for a rip current right here. So good fishing spot. Decent fishing spot off the point. If you wanted to, I'd probably yeah, I mean, because we got altitude, I'd probably fish here, maybe here. But you got lots of options. As you can see, you got tons of holes. Now, if the beach is completely straight and flat, like a lot of it is right now, we don't have a ton of structure. We've had a lot of kind of just set up there. Then you got to play into the game a little bit, look for the deeper stuff, get into the deep holes, and then start playing the bars. So when you're walking, this is kind of the stuff you're looking for. You're looking for holes, you're looking for points, looking for rips. If you can see them, great. And that up here, it's basically cheating. I mean, if we're being honest, our water is so clear that you can almost always see where the structure is. So looking and going, easy day. The bad part about our area is, yeah, it's powder sand. It's soft. So if you're gonna go for a walk, mm, it's gonna be a workout. So yeah, but it's worth it. I fully believe that. In front of these houses here, these are, this is all public property. This is no private property down here. With Florida, fishermen can do their thing from the high tide line down to the water. No one can say anything. There's some other stuff in there in the legality piece that there's no point in getting into, if we're being honest. But going through, you can fish these areas. Biggest one I always say is, if you got people fishing or swimming, pay attention. We can really coexist with them. So, not a hard deal. But these are the things that you're always looking for. And this is one of the things that you hear about on the podcast. I ask everybody all the time, what are you looking for? I'm looking for holes. I'm looking for structure. Everybody's got right around the exact same thought process when they're starting to talk about these. So it's pretty cool, to hear everybody talk about, oh, hey, I'm going to fish here. I'm going to go this. I'm going to do that. They talk about it on every episode because I ask specifically. If you've been listening to the show for a long time, I'm always asking, what do you look for? What are you using? How are you using it? What are you doing? What rigs? All these pieces all come together in this game. So if you're new and starting out, hey, this is a great place to start. I I know, selfish plug, right? I'm gonna pump up my own words on the podcast, but this is the sort of stuff that will help. I want you to come out and fish. I want wherever you're going, get out there and throw a line in the water, get after it, have a fun. I mean, that you're at the beach on a perfect day. You may be hanging out with the family. You got the lines in the water. You could be catching dinner, and it's easy. It's relaxing. It's nice. So, huge fan of surf fishing. That's just me. And I am glad that I can bring it to you in the podcast form and I can help with that. Uh, and hopefully it helps you. YouTube, tons of knowledge. Tons of knowledge. I mean, we've got so many different channels that you can look at, and a lot of people will really just give out this information to help you better. I mean, get you better. That's really the big deal. We're all doing this to give the information out and try to help you catch some fish and be entertained in the process. So, one thing I have asked numerous times on my social media platforms is, what do you want to know? Because in reality, that is one of the biggest things. Because if we don't know, if I can't help you, we can't talk about these things, then what's the point in constantly, bringing it up on over and over and over? So one of the things that I do is this. I mean, I've got a whole list. Oh, why are we triple broadcasting here? There we go. I've got this whole list of questions that I ask. And I ask all of you, hey, what do you got? What do you want? What do you want added? And people do. And people add to these questions and it helps because much as I'd love to say, I send a lot of information out, sure. But if the information's not relevant to you, then it's a waste of time. And your time is important and I don't want to waste it. That's all the reason why I don't go live all the time. So if you got questions to ask into the podcast, if you've heard, or it's like, man, I really wish I could ask that, or I wish I could hear about this, throw the question at me. I'll throw it in there. If it fits, I will absolutely do it. That's easy day and fun for me. It's not that bad. So that's kind of the podcast piece. And talking about beach reading. One day I will take the GoPro out. I will stream live as I go, and I'll see what I can find for you, and hopefully something fun will come up. I mean, maybe like, oh, what's that there? We'll play that out and try to help people somehow, some way. Okay, so we did rips. We did those. Let's see if we can't get into some of the other ones here. Another one. Oh, actually, let's bring up another picture because Tony had a very, very, very good picture above too. See if I can find it. Anybody out fishing right now? That would be most good if somebody was. Actually, I know Jesse's fishing. I need to get out there and go catch up with him. He stop being, crybaby lazy and get out. Also known as I miss it. So here we go. Here's the picture I wanted. Okay, so Tony posted this not too long ago. And this is obviously a flat day. Our water's a little bit emerald, so it's a little harder to see. But as you can see, he's kind of drawn it really simply to take a look. A lot of current moving here. He's in a bit of a hole. You can see this ring right here that tells me it's deep. So, you get that energy pushing up here to the shore. So this is a hole. So a couple lines here. You get the bar back here. Not a lot of motion, but as you can see here, still deep, but he's got a little bit of a current pushing this way. So this is a pretty decent hole to fire with. But if you start scouring people's social media that do all this, especially like panhandle surf fishing, things like that, you're going to see people put their pictures up and get some ideas as to what's around there. That's likely going to help with your beach reading. And hopefully it helps you get out there and fish. All right, so let's do some podcast editing. Let's see if I can do this. This should be fun. I haven't done this yet. This is all live, so I mean, we're just guessing as we go. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got here.
This past, I would say 4 or 5 years, I really
Yeah, editing's always fun.
I mean, sharks, red bulls.
This is an upcoming episode not too long from now.
Trouts and for a target, but 9 times out of 10, I'm out there for whatever's going to hook up.
That's something that's like, did you?
See, this is the fun part when you start editing and you hear your own voice and you're like, it just gets bad. But whenever you're editing, it can be an ordeal. It just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. One of the things I like to do is while I'm writing or while I'm listening, I'm putting notes down the entire time. I'm putting edit marks, stuff that, it's like, hey, what's going on with this? So I can come back and edit it. I used to actually never edit my podcasts. And I even told people on the phone, I'm like, look, once you talk, it's done. I'm not going back and editing. And then I kind of started realizing, what, maybe I need to adjust some stuff. And then you started editing. And now I've realized once you start editing, you just can't stop editing. You want it to look, sound, and flow right. One thing I am always looking for is gaps. Gaps and this type of sound marker. I think it's an
And throwing it out there.
And that's me.
Going after a little pompano with some fish bites. And next thing I know, I'm pulling in a friggin' red drum. What the hell? But those reds will hold. Those double drops are good.
Yeah, that was a good time catching reds.
It's really great.
Yeah, Josh. Oh man, Josh is actually my pseudo previewer editor. He makes sure that I didn't screw up. So when I send him stuff, I'm sure there's a couple times because I don't record every week. I wish I could. There's a lot of times I'll record 2 or 3 episodes in a week and try to pound through it real fast to catch back up. And I'll end up blowing up Josh's email like, hey, how's this one? Check this. We'll adjust this. It's kind of comical. I feel bad for the guy. I'm not overly consistent with him.
It just blows my mind on the variety.
So this episode is actually airing this coming Friday. I have 2 episodes that I need to finish up. This one's out of Georgia with a gentleman I hung out with when I was there for the Kids Can Fish tournament for the running of the bulls. His name's Dylan. Lots of really, really good information. Pretty knowledgeable guy. And it was kind of eye-opening for me to learn about Georgia fishing. Georgia fishing it's difficult. That was one of the biggest pieces I took away from that tournament, besides, how great it was Georgia fishing, especially St. Simon's Island. You you got to know what you're doing a little bit more. You got to do some scouting. You know, the Kathy pulling in a pompano. They don't get many pompano there. Fishing girl. They caught a triple tail from the beach. They said that normally doesn't happen. They got to get them offshore. It was a very, very interesting tournament.
Trust me, that tournament right there proved to me, okay, this is your first tournament that you're actually in saltwater wise. This is either going to tell you if you can catch these fish really.
Yeah, Dylan had a lot of really good information on tournament fishing. This is where you start really looking for stuff.
Those are fun days, though. He's like, oh, cool, I caught that. All right, cool, that's dinner.
Let's see if we got here.
Exactly.
All right, so see stuff like that. That pause, not needed, right? Back that down. So whenever you're editing, you don't want to get too close, you know, and you got to look at this 15, 20, 25, you know, you got to have an idea of what your scale is. Like this gap right here, not bad. But if you start getting crazy with it, you're not paying attention, you know, you can grab like a whole section here and it just sounds horrible. It just does not flow.
Those are fun days, though.
So see, we're cleaning up here.
Cool, I caught that. All right, cool.
Here's that gap.
Exactly. I mean, it's crazy.
Moving into.
It's actually never. I love doing this part, actually. A lot of the editing stuff is not as bad as I thought it would be. I really expected it to be super painful and, you know, constantly just getting aggravated by doing it. But it's really not horrible. Hopefully you guys can hear some of this too. Unfortunately, it doesn't transition very well into the microphone.
Or your favorite catches?
All right, so.
Okay, so here, let's back up.
It's just my personality.
That's a good personality. So I'm glad that you like that. It makes fishing days more fun. That's
All
for
right.
sure.
All right, pause. 2, 3. That's too long. Way too long. Okay, so you back up a little bit. Yeah, see the breathing. That's where you get really screwed up, is sometimes your audio gets kind of choppy with it, so you have to be careful when editing. Background noise, it makes it, you pull a lot of things. So when you hear people working on, you know, audio and stuff like that, it kind of, yeah, like I feel for them now. So here we go. He's got to bring it down a little. That's fine. Yeah, right there. So when Audacity, one of the things I like, so let's say you got kind of a weird, you know, something you didn't like in a sound, you can scroll all the way in and you can see these sound waves. You know, you can break it down to really tight. I mean, look at that. But if you needed to cut a little piece here and there, you can really scroll in and get after it. The hard part's getting back to the level you were at before to make sure that you have the line. Oh, man. That's a bait check. Recognize that sound wave. That's the other part that gets interesting when you're doing this, is you start recognizing certain words will give you a certain sound wave every time. And I can sometimes tell my audio from the listener, you know, from the call in. I can sometimes see it. But yeah, the tool I use, if you follow me on social, you've seen it. But yeah, this one, the P4, this tool is huge. I mean, you run the microphone and all that. And right now I'm plugged in through the computer. But yeah, this little tool, it's really good for podcasting. Plus, you know, I don't have a giant board yet. I'm actually going to have to get one. But, you know, if I'm traveling to the East Coast or go fishing with somebody, or if I want to take this out to the beach, which I've done before when I recorded Dylan, you know, it's compact enough that it gets you out there and you could still do the things you want to do with it. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to bring this monster out. So that if you're looking to get into podcasting, you're looking for a small, quick and easy tool to use, the PodTrack P4. I like it. It's really good. You can get it with the deals with the other mics. You know, it'll come with the handheld mics and stuff like that. You got mic stands and all sorts of ones. Where I started originally was with this headset, the Technica, with this lip mic right here, the boom mic. I like them. Personally, I liked it for a long time, but this Shure, I've been trying to get my hands on a better mic for audio and through the computer. So yeah, getting
It's very much worth it.
the right equipment is
Those are good days.
eh,
For sure.
I'd like to say it's easy. Kind of is, but it's not as easy as I thought it would be. That's for sure. Hey, Justin. Hey, buddy. I'll call you after. Let's see if I know you're probably going to go out today.
Those are good days.
Saw your text.
That's for sure.
It'd be nice to get out.
All right,
I
so
was going to go yesterday, but reasons. Yeah, I think that's the best way to say it is reasons. I didn't have a good day yesterday.
yeah, your beach is on.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of a day of I'm just going to hide inside and just be in my head. So those are never the super fun days.
Way to fish. I'm gonna get you on one. Let's get it done right now.
You're good.
Just a little bit down there.
I'm gonna get you on one. Let's get it done right now.
Pause.
You're good, dude.
Perfect tempo. You want to try to keep that tempo because long breaks, man, they really mess with the flow.
I mean, Todd really doesn't.
Beautiful out now. Going to be heading out later as well. Good. All right. Good, Robert. I'm glad you're going to get out. Where are you thinking of heading?
But other than that, they're two totally different animals. And you keep talking about the blue carpet, how Tom was talking about.
Dylan did a really good job with this podcast. He did real
If
well.
you're nowhere near that,
See right here. Let's see if we can. Let's see if that flows.
how Tom was talking about at the tournament. I mean, if you're nowhere near that,
Yeah. So we can get the I mean out of there. It doesn't need to go, but it falls. It kind of falls into something I talk about with ums, ahs, oohs, pauses.
and you keep talking about the blue carpet.
Here it is right here.
Was talking about at the tournament. If you're nowhere near that,
Didn't need the I mean. See
9 times out of 10,
the flow.
it's going to be when those schools are running.
Pensacola, nice. Yesterday, the beach cam for Pensacola looked absolutely awful. Like the parking lot was stacked. We drove out to do some shopping. End of our beach was 98 was backed up. It almost looked like it was getting close to summer. So it was definitely a no-go. See how his pauses right here? His cadence is so good. It's like I said when we're talking about the podcast and talking before I do pre-show, I tell every time, just talk, just be you, just be normal. Just I'll edit it down. Don't worry about it. But a lot of these too, it's just comfort.
I mean, I don't know how I'm going to compete with you this year in this tournament.
That's because I catch the small fish.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how I'm going to compete with you.
Hey, we can drop these. See, and it just flows fine. Big one. Drop that down just a hair. This is something everybody uses different programs. It's everybody's got something that they really like when they're editing, whether it's, movie makers or stuff like that. It's just something that it just depends on what you want. JC, good morning to you, sir. Good morning to you. I'm just trying to take notes out of your book, Justin. I'm looking forward to the Kids Can Fish tournament. I will be definitely ready for that one. That's out of St. Simon's Island, out of Georgia.
Yeah, and the crazy part is the dude that won the tournament,
Sean had a hell of a fish.
yards from me in the exact same
He had a really good. That winter fish was nice. There we go. We finally got one. Right. They're an right? No big deal. No big deal. But remember I was talking about that scroll in. If it's a tight quarter cut, scroll in. Stay tight to it. That way you're not going to lose anything. Because the cadence, right? We were talking cadence.
Same location, and he called transition, and he called
Yeah.
winning red, not even like I said.
Let's see
It's
here.
like his school, he threw in at the right
Didn't
time,
love that
at the
transition.
right moment, and
Not a horrible line. I can't really move it,
we were all neck and neck.
but maybe I can slightly.
First,
Donnie.
third place was so clear on all of those things.
I don't want anybody to have any free time on Sunday. I'm just dropping stuff there. I think that's gonna work.
All of those fish.
Yeah. And the Calcutta.
Okay, that was a decent cut. That one wasn't bad. I actually went through yesterday and edited the main portions that I knew that I messed up. Helps take notes.
Yeah, and you're looking for different cuts.
Good cut, good cadence. No need to change.
How I stagger,
Especially when you're hunting, trying to figure out where they're at. That's so important.
Okay, so nice pause.
So we've talked about where to catch.
Yeah, see. So pauses. Oh, I can't remember who his name was. There was a guy that did a talk about feeling the silence, when you're having a conversation with somebody.
Hunting, trying to figure out where they're at. That's so important. So we've talked about where to cast.
That worked out better. Okay, so as I was saying there, a lot of people when they're talking, and they mentioned this in public speaking too. If you're having a conversation or in a professional setting, instead of doing the ums and ahs or a pet word or a filler word like that, don't just stay quiet. Give yourself that second to think. And then in a public forum, the guy harps on it. And as you can see, I still daggone stinking, I'll use certain phrases. Pausing gives you that moment to, I guess they want to say authentic or seem more genuine on the podcast. Have at it, just talk. It doesn't matter what words you use. I'm going to cut it down, but that's something that I've been trying to work on now is pausing when I don't know the words.
So we've talked about where to cast. Let's talk about the rig. So
kind of want to go down a little more there.
Fish there you've got. That's so important. So we've talked about
it's okay. It's not bad. Unless you do not mumble, Justin. Shut it. If you guys haven't seen Justin Reed fishing, anytime I'm fishing, 9 times out of 10, I'm with Justin. But he always says he mumbles, and I'm like, dude, you never mumble. You never do. All this stuff is always clear, concise, and you can hear it. So don't listen to my friend. He's full of lies and propaganda. He uses some seriously monster rigs too. But he gets, they get sharks, they get a bunch of stuff right there. Monster reds, propaganda. That's what I tell myself. It's all lies and propaganda. Here we go. There's one.
With swivel back to my main line.
Cleans.
And actually, my weight is on my main line for my sharks, and for my redfish, everything's just sitting there. And I have a stopper rig at a certain depth. I'll have about 2 to 3 foot of leader.
Okay, this is a good one right here. So this one, really tight, right, with a cadence. Ooh, this one's gonna be hard. Let's just cut it out. We're not going to delete it. We're just going to cut it. Okay. Nice. Okay. That came out just fine.
That's 9 times out of 10 when I'm running for my reds.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, especially with the sizes you did back there, and it goes all the way back. And you don't really have.
So one of the hard parts too, when you're doing this, people are like, oh, you should do this more in studio, face to face. Yes and no. So I like the idea of having somebody in front of me, sure, but with doing a podcast nationally and not having a ton of money to start traveling to people, you got to do it through phone. One of the funny things is, obviously, I'm an Apple user. if I'm on the phone with another Apple user, it's clean. The audio through Apple to Apple is hilarious. For some reason, it's just always cleaner. If I'm on with droids or anything like that, it's okay, but you can kind of tell. Also with if it's to your ear or speakerphone, major difference in audio. Huge difference. I'd never even expected it until I've done this for a little while. AirPods, earphones, all the audio is different. You can edit a little bit, but it's hard to get that clean sound out of there. So it's important to do all your sound checks early.
Yeah, and I mean, my rigs are normally, I mean, if it's on my 12-foot rod, it's going to be at least
Cutting everything off.
Yeah, and I mean, my rigs are normally, I mean, if it's on my 12-foot rod, it's going to be at least a 4.
Okay, this whole section, we can cut that down and make it smooth.
Swivel, cutting everything off.
If it's on my 12-foot rod, it's going to be at least a 4-foot leader. But if it's going to be on anything lower than my 10, it's going to be about a 3 to 4 foot leader of 135-pound nylon-coated steel.
I'm worried about that right there.
I mean, like you said, we don't get blues. It's very rare that we get blues. My first blue that I ever caught was in this past tournament for the running. And then we don't have Spanish. We don't have massive fish out here that have.
He brings up a point here. Sidebar. The Spanish, JC, that's why I made you earbuds. Yeah, you did a great podcast, dude. I really enjoyed yours. You're one of the few people that really explained lures and rigs to me. So Spanish, he brings up a cool point, and it's been brought up before in other YouTube channels, but we're here, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If you've got a swivel on or something shiny in between your main line down to your rig, especially in this area, and the Spanish are running, they're actually going to they're going to hit your swivel. They're going to hit that shine. So that's something to be ready for. I've heard different topics. People use the blackout, powder coated, stuff like that, and that helps. But if you got something shiny, Spanish love chewing shiny stuff. They just crush around me. I've lost several rigs and Sputniks just because of Spanish. Justin knows the joke. It's like a damn fish. Their mouth breathers just swimming by, chewing through your line. It's kind of, it's like the dang thing's flying and all of a sudden it's like gets clotheslined by the mouth, but those damn teeth get you. They rip it right off, and that's only a fraction what's floating around. I can understand. Absolutely understand. Let's see what we got here.
What kind of sinkers do you like to use?
Normally, I'm very basic whenever it comes to fishing. I mean,
we can go ahead and cut that back. Good morning, Molly. I hear my dog out there.
I'm very basic whenever it comes to fishing.
Yeah, they do. They do, Justin.
If it's not broke, I live my life by this. If it's not broke, don't try to fix it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's life advice right there.
I'm very, but
You don't need to fix what's not broken. If it's good and it runs, especially in fishing. Dare I say, I mean,
I'm going to the local bait shop.
I always have a hard time with the word professional because you,
Four-sided, three-sided, it depends on what they have that
you're
day.
out there fishing.
And
I
I'm not
mean,
throwing any more sides. And depends on
every time's a
the
learning
rate.
experience.
The highest that I'll ever throw on my gear is an
8 and
8.
bait.
I want that fish to be able to pick it up and not really feel a weight on the other end. So I'm not going out and I'm not putting.
I mean, 8 and bait is crazy. The idea of throwing 8 ounces and a little bit more.
I'm not going out and I'm not putting Sputniks on unless it is that king tide that we talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
that king tide.
Then
We had no choice. We had zero choice.
Yeah, there was no choice but to use Sputniks. It was a good thing Chip was there.
Would have been gone.
It was crazy. And yeah, I mean, pyramid weights is 9 times out of 10. If you walk up on me at the beach or at the pier, 9 times out of 10, that's what I'm throwing. And I believe in the old ways. I don't need all of this new technology and stuff like that.
See, that's sort of the thing right there too. Everybody's got different flavors. Everyone has a different enjoyment. I like to fish with Sputniks. Even on a calm day, you'll 9 times out of 10, you can ask Justin, anybody that's fished with me, 9 times out of 10, I'm using Sputniks. And my reason for it is a couple of different ones. One, I do like the hold. Obviously, I'm a big fan of having a little bit of a bend in my rod while it's there because it gives me an indicator of snapback. You know, if a fish hit, my rod's going to spring right back up to no bend. So it's like, oh, hey, that's an indicator. It also holds a little bit when the fish grabs, it's got something to pull against. I've been told by people that are much better than me that it can also be a detractor. I haven't really had much of a problem with my Sputniks, so I have them set up a couple different ways. One thing Chip told me was on light current or no current days, and you still want to use a Sputnik. Basically, you loosen the wires up at the bottom. I'm sorry, I don't have one with me, but if you loosen it up and make it so it's an instant, pop off, that's great. I mean, the only bad part that I've run into with a Sputnik is if the weight breaks free, then it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there on the prong, so it's not going to do much. It's still going to hold, I guess, because it's the weight's there. It's dug in, but if I get a fish hit and I miss it, I'd say pretty much every time. I wouldn't say 9 out of 10. Every time I'm throwing it, I'm pulling it in and then throwing it back out. Yeah, it's just me. I have left it out there before. It didn't make much of a difference, from what I gathered. But like he said, he prefers pyramids, 3-sided, 4-sided. He'll use Sputniks for his those pieces. But everyone's got their own thing. Blake Hunter, one of the real 30A, one of the few guys that I will definitely say I look up to him. He's taught me a lot. He's always been open with me and always try to help me become a better angler. I know that he loves bank sinkers, and he's told me, he's like, dude, you got to use a bank. You throw it out there, it's going to roll into the current, it's going to hold up, and it's a fish finder rig. It's like, yeah, you're right. And I've done it, and it works. It does. I just, sometimes the creature of habitness gets you. Yeah, I don't hate that gap. It can live. That's an okay gap. But this one.
My reels and my rods, I'm throwing it in the water anyway, and I have a chance to either A, break off and
horrible.
of it, so I'm here. Yeah. I'm not here to say that using all of your money on the expensive gear is not.
Yeah, you don't need expensive gear. That's for sure. You just need to get out and fish. Actually, a few tackle shops too offer rental gear.
Yeah. Any means, but coming from
That's okay. That's my editing face. It's a squint that I don't need to squint.
Right there. That's cool that you think of like that. I mean, and you've been using it the standard way, so you're comfortable with it. You understand your gear, and that just gets you through. So,
see you, JC. Have the best day, buddy.
Yeah, that's good points right there. That's cool that you think of like that. I mean, and you've been using it the standard way, so you're comfortable with it.
See you, bud. I'll call you after I'm done.
That just gets you through. So, perfection all through there. This one gets this question right here because this one screwed me up when I went to St. Simon's. And next year, I already know.
Tom Cabrera just caught a mat. Whoo, dear Lord. Whoa. 17 and a quarter, 3-pounder. Way to go, Tom. That is nice. This is why I love text groups. We all start talking to each other, telling each other where we're catching, how we're catching, what we're using. If you're not in those, you got to get into those text groups. They're fun. Yeah, friends make a big difference.
Damn good points right there. That's cool that you think of like that. I mean, and you've been using it.
I got to admit, this is weird using. I'm on StreamYard right now, broadcasting, but it's weird to be using Twitch. I don't know anything about it, so I'm just starting. It's my first time ever using Twitch. Yeah, it's good gaps. That one's obviously big. We can come down. Wrong button. There we go. No, see, this peak here always messes with me because I always think it's an
Mullet are abundant everywhere. I mean,
we're gonna come down a smidge. This is what my day is of editing podcasts. It's really not bad. I thoroughly enjoy it, actually. Plus, it gives me a chance to go back. Ooh, what's this little audio?
Wow, really?
I say wow a lot.
I mean, we have
but in reality, it's because I'm I am normally very much so wowed by people. Anytime I get knowledge on here, I'm always like, geez, that's so friggin' brilliant. It's like the super cheater for me is I get all the knowledge and get to use it and hopefully help me become better. But the advantage to that too is so do you. So I'm still doing episodes all throughout the country. I got Texas. This is Georgia. Next week after that will be Texas. Going to be working a Maryland one here pretty soon. For Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, that whole sector, Delmarva. This is a cool point.
If they're not born here, they're not going to stay here.
Talking about the local fish. And that was an interesting point. Definitely gave me something to think about. Because, I mean, where are the fish? What are they doing? How are they moving? You know, the run, is the run the residential?
Okay, so you got those.
Coming out of the passes, going to somewhere else? Is the run, you know, from another area, magically gracing us with their presence? Because we catch pompano year round here. You don't catch them in big numbers.
Sharks, everything.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're catching sharks with them. You're catching stingray with them. I believe in my heart that's what they were. So I believe in my heart
that's an okay bar. That's fine.
At that point in time.
Bait check. What's this?
I'll get your order in today.
Why did that gap?
So we've been talking about these
Well, it's actually
pizzas
gapped just
with,
fine.
types of bait. So let's move into
I normally don't edit my ums. I don't edit me much. You're used to the sound of my voice, so.
Right. Okay. Any other stuff? Do you do any map read?
So you can get rid of that completely. No point.
I'm just broke.
Those are the best, aren't they? Come here.
Started pretty much in the beginning. We're almost done with it. Look at that. I mean, we're 42 minutes into that podcast. All right, choppy audio. What do we got?
So I really hate to say it. I mean, I'm changing out bait, but other than that, I'm not really out there.
The cadence is still fine.
That's my time to relax.
Pitch inflection, good.
With whatever God has put out there for me. I mean, I'll look at it and I'm like, wow.
See, that was an I mean. That's an I mean. See how what I was talking about
what it actually is.
Very similar sound patterns. You can start to see them as you edit more and more. You start recognizing this is an on or an I mean. See, you can see them. And when you can see them, if it becomes a pet word, what you can do is you can just cut it, and it really makes it easy once you start recognizing waves.
It's just,
see, watch.
Yes. It's just.
Yeah, that's a weird sound that can go away. We don't need that. I don't know what that is. What's right here too?
It's just.
Nope.
Some guys will be like,
oh, no, it was just a weird sound pitch. No big deal. That happens. Do. Okay. Well, actually, we've been jaw-jacking here, dead in a podcast. So, as you can see, it's really. This is what I do. This is I'm that guy online here. I'm streaming and teaching you about podcast editing and sending out information, all that stuff. So, if you go back to this week's episode with Slot City Fishing, Jesse really breaks down, and if you're thinking about becoming a digital platform or digital creator, I hate the word influencer. If you're trying to get into that, it's the number one thing is to remember is success does not happen overnight. Not even a little. I mean, you may get lucky on a TikTok or YouTube, Facebook short. You might get lucky and you may go viral. But getting viral after viral after viral is a very, very, very difficult task. It's not simple. And doing a podcast, doing a YouTube channel, doing any of this stuff requires time, a lot of time. You gotta be in it to win it for however long you're willing to do it. If you're trying to get in and think, okay, cool, I'm gonna get monetized and I'm gonna do all this stuff and it's gonna take me 6 months, um, you're a rarity. It does happen, and it's happened with one of our friends in this area. He crushed it, but you gotta you got to be dedicated to it. Yeah, it's really the best way I can say it. You have to give yourself that this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm going to grow. And you have to put in the work. You have to make the phone calls. You have to have the conversations. You have to do the shares. You do have to get in the groups. You got to understand the entire thing. And I'll be the first one. I don't understand half of it. Um, but I'm learning it as I go because I'm not stopping. This is, if I get to one of you in the world, that means I did something good. I helped somebody, and that's a win. So I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. And if you want to get into this game, get into it. Swing for the fences, man. Like seriously, go hard. You can do it. You really can. But you have to say I'm going to and follow through with it, or you're going to give up and it's just going to be a frustration. You have a bunch of gear and it's just not fun. So don't get down on yourself. Don't be upset and just fight as best you can, right? I mean, that's the best you can do. Just give it all you got and it'll work out. It really will. And it helps to have good friends that are supportive. If you hopefully have that, a good team working with you and, people rocking through that. So I've been flipping my jibs here for, oh, wow, an hour. Then that went quick. But I'm going to probably finish editing this podcast here, get it over to the platforms and get it sent out to where it needs to. So that way I can make sure that everything's good to go. It's really, this is the fun part for the podcast, getting it finished up and checked out. And then don't forget to come back, take a look at Finding Demo Surf Fishing. If you go on to any of your podcast apps and you put in Finding Demo Surf Fishing, you'll get all my episodes. You'll get them immediately as soon as they download. If you're hitting subscribe or any of that stuff or follow, it'll automatically be in your podcast library first thing in the morning when you get up. The episodes do drop at midnight on Friday morning. So I used to do it, drop at 6 in the morning. And then I realized, well, that's kind of short-sighted just because, I'd much rather have it ready for people going to work. So I've done that. I moved it to midnight. So it'll be ready for you right away. And you can find it basically on every there. You can find it on my website and findingdemosurffishing.com. I've got it on there. I've got a bunch of other stuff on there too, blogs, write-ups, what I'm using, my tackle box, all those things. They are all available to you. And Andy just texted me. What'd you text me, Andy? Well, it doesn't look like you're sunburned, so that's good. Andy has a bad habit of getting sunburned. Oh, all right. Well, I hope you have a phenomenal day. I really do. I hope you get out and fish. Hope you do some fun stuff and just, you do you. That's all I can ever ask. Thanks for hanging around with me. This was kind of fun. I will not do these every week. No way. It's just, I'm not going to do that to you guys. But all right, I'm going to roll. We'll see you.